Sare Jaha se Accha, Hindustan Hamara. A very happy Independence Day to you all. Today we celebrate India's 76th Independence Day. It had been 75 years since we got independence, and today we are stepping in to our 76th year of independence from the British. Our motherland India had been ruled for more than 200 years by the Britishers, starting from the 1800s till 1947, the 15th of August, when we got independent. The independence was a pre-planned program. In 1946, then Prime Minister of Britain announced that the control of the Democratic Republic of India would be handed over by July 1947. The very same year, a three-man committee, famously known as the Cabinet Mission, arrived in India. Now, let's go back to the 15th of August, 1947 and see how the control was passed on to the Democratic Republic of India and to the first Cabinet of India, and how India had to struggle for its freedom, and how many freedom fighters have sacrificed their life. On the 15th of August 1947, the Act was passed in the Parliament of Britain stating that the control of India is on its own people, and therefore the first cabinet ministry was formed, and the Prime Minister was Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru. At the midnight, India was declared an independent state for the first time. The first Prime Minister of an independent country hoisted the national flag from the Red Fort. But for the time being, till India would become a republic nation, which was later on the 26th of January 1950, it was the head of the state would be King George VI and the Viceroy Lord Mountbatten. Later on, in 1948, India chose its own person as the Governor General of India, C. Rajagopalachari. Now this was an introduction to how we became an independent state, and also a very important, an act was passed that India was a free nation. Let us now look in detail the hours before independence and after independence on the morning of independence on the 15th of August 1947. Looking into the hours before and after independence, let me tell you the main events. The first event was at 11 p.m. on 14th August when P.T. Jawaharlal Nehru, or Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, gave his famous speech, Rise with Destiny. Then members of the Constituent Assembly took an oath to serve the country. It was the fifth session of the Constituent Assembly. And then finally, a group of women, as the Indian woman representation, presented the national flag to the Constituent Assembly. An hour later at midnight, then Prime Minister Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru hoisted the national flag from the ramparts of the Red Fort. The next morning, the last British governor, Lord Mountbatten, administered the oath of office and secrecy to the first Prime Minister of India and the first cabinet ministers of free India. Many cabinet ministers and Prime Minister of India and presidents have been the freedom activists. Not only them, but many freedom fighters have lived to see the national flag unfurling on the ramparts of the Red Fort. But sadly, many have sacrificed their life so India could become an independent state, such as Bhagat Singh, Mangal Pandey, and Bal Gangadhar Tilak. Many have sacrificed their life. so that we can become a free state. But some have lived to see the unfurling of the national flag of India. Now, as a tribute, let's pay a homage. And here we present a tribute to the brave freedom of fighters of India by a short animation. Let's see.
Vande Matram, Vande Matram, Vande Matram, Vande Matram, Sujalam Sufalam, Malayaj Sheetalam. Sasya Shyaamalam Mataram, Vande Mataram, Vande Mataram. Shubhra Jyotsnam Pulakitayaminim, Fulla Kusumita Drumadala Shobhinim, Suhasinim Sumadhura Bhashinim, Sukhadam Varadam Mataram, Vande Mataram. Koti koti kantha kala kala ninada karale, koti koti bhujai dhrita khara karavale, ke bole ma tumi abale, Bahubaladharini Namami Tarini, Ripudalabarini Mataram, Vande Mataram. Tumi vidya, tumi dharma, tumi hridi, tumi marma, tumi prana sharire, bahute tumi ma shakti, hridaye tumi ma bhakti. तुम्हारी प्रतिमा गढ़ी मंदिरे मंदिरे, वंदे मातरम, वंदे मातरम.
Amazing! Indeed, our freedom fighters have truly sacrificed their life and fighting with the British. And indeed, India is a museum of cults, cultures, creeds, religion, but A nation which is united with different religion and cultures and faiths and beliefs is indeed India. We come to the main points of the Indian freedom struggle from 1857 till 15th August 1947. The very first event was the Mutiny War of Independence, which was between a group of Mughal army men and the British. It started on the 10th of May 1857. The next was on 22nd Jan 1901, when Queen Victoria was announced dead and the 64-year reign came to an end. Then in 1904, the Indian freedom fighters and the countrymen of India boycotted foreign clothes. And then in the 1907, the Congress split into two. Then in August 1908, Khudiram Bose was executed. He is one of the youngest martyrs of the Indian freedom struggle. He was executed at the age of 18. Then in 1908, Tilak was transported to Myanmar on an 18-year sentence. And in 1914, the Gandhi-Smith Agreement was signed. Then, following year, in 1950, one of the Indian freedom fighters, Gopal Krishna Gokhale, died. In 1916, Ani Besant started the Home Rule movement, and in 1917, the passive resistance of Kheda was observed. There was a resistance at Kheda. Then, coming to 1919, the Rowlatt Bill was passed. And the very same year, a huge massacre had taken place in Punjab, Amritsar, the Jallianwala Bagh massacre, where many had been killed. The date was exactly the 13th of April 1919. The next year, on the 1st of August 1920, Tilak was announced dead. In 1922, the Chauri Chaura killings, which was some of the violent protesters had put fire on a police station in Lucknow. Then in 1928, Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel called off the Bardoli Satyagraha, and in 1929, Jatin Das died of hunger strike, which was organized by Bhagat Singh. In 1929, the very same year, the Congress called for Purna Swaraj, which meant that independence would be declared on 26th of January 1950. But sadly, it was declared on the 15th of August 1947. So therefore, the ministers or the cabinet ministers decided that when India would gain a constitution, it would be enforced on 26th of January 1950. And this Purna Swaraj was called on 1929. Then, in 1930, the Round Table Conference 1 was held, and the following year, the Chittagong armories were raided by Shujja Sen. In 1930, the famous Dandi March was organized, and the next year, the Gandhi-Irwin Pact was signed. The very same year, we lost one of the freedom fighters, Bhagat Singh, who was executed at the Lahore Central Jail. In 1932, the Pune Pact was signed, and then in 1939, Britain would induct the Indian men into the World War II. In 1940, the individual Satyagraha begins, which was organized by Mahatma Gandhi, and here we are coming towards our independence. In 1942, the Quit India movement begins, and also the Bharat Choro Andolan had already begun. Finally, in 1946, the Britain Prime Minister announced that it would give India its freedom. And in 1946, the very same year, as previously told, the cabinet mission arrived in India. The interim government was formed. On the 28th of February 1946, Lord Mountbatten was made the new Viceroy of India. Finally, on the 15th of August 1947, India became an independent state. And that was how India became an independent state. We today have covered up from 1857 till 1947 the main key points of India's freedom struggle, where many died, where many were sentenced, and many pacts were signed, and many boycotts were done. And finally, on the 15th of August 1947, when India gained independence, it was a proud moment for all Indians, and many freedom fighters had lived to see the first Prime Minister of India unfurling the national flag on the ramparts of the Red Fort. Now, let me tell you a fact which is out of the topic. In the Constitution of India, the preamble, which says that we the people of India, having solemnly resolved to constitute India into a sovereign. Now here, sovereign means that no state can control, interfere in the external and the internal affairs of our country. With that, a fact out of the topic, and seeing how India had struggled to become a free country, let's come to a close for today. Thank you very much, and I wish you again a very happy Independence Day. Today we celebrate India's 76th Independence Day, and also we are celebrating Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. I once again wish you Happy Independence Day as we celebrate India's 76th Independence Day. आप सभी को स्वतंत्रता दिवस का बहुत बहुत शुभकामनाएं. जय हिंद.